Is Matthew 27, verse 9, and error in the KJV? Well, the short answer is no. So, next question. But we're going to look at it a little more deeply than that. So, look with me at Matthew 27, verse 9. And we're going to do a little blue letter Bible together so you can, we'll show this on the screen. So, Matthew 27, verse 9. Then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremy the prophet, saying, and they took the 30 pieces of silver, the price of him that was valued, whom they of the children of Israel did value. When it says Jeremy in that passage, who's that a reference to? Jeremiah, exactly. And the reason why it says Jeremiah is that word is translated from the Greek, and Jeremiah in the Old Testament is translated from the Hebrew, but it's the same person. Now here's where people think this is an error. You see where it's quoted there, and they took the 30 pieces of silver, the price of him, and so on. Let's go to Zechariah 11, verse 13. And the Lord said unto me, cast it unto the potter, a goodly price that I was prized out of them. And I took the 30 pieces of silver and cast them to the potter in the house of the Lord. So when Matthew 27 refers to Jeremy, and it talks about the 30 pieces of silver and the Lord being prized at that amount, it's actually referring to Zechariah 11, verse 13. The 30 pieces of silver reference doesn't appear in Jeremiah. So some folks look at that and they say, well, that's an error in the KJV. So I want to do something with you here. So we're going to go back to Matthew 27, verse 9. You can see the verse there. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change this to the NKJV. So there we have the New King James. And notice it refers to Jeremiah the prophet as well. Let's try the NIV. So there's the NIV. Then what was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet? Let's do the New American Standard. Matthew 27, verse 9. Then that which was spoken through Jeremiah the prophet. Okay, so what is the first thing we've just learned from that? Is this problem unique to the King James Version, or is it common? It's common, because the NIV, the New American Standard, the New King James, they all say the same thing. Okay, so it's not a King James issue, is it? It's a Bible text issue. Well, that is an interesting observation, but it doesn't solve the problem for us, because then it's just an error in multiple different versions. So let's go back to the King James, and we're going to do this tricky thing. Let's read the verse, and is it actually an error? Look with me at Matthew 27, verse 9. Then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremy the prophet, saying, and they took the 30 pieces of silver, the price of him that was valued, whom they of the children of Israel did value. In Matthew 27, verse 9, what is the key word? There's a single word that explains what is going on. What word is it? The word is spoken. Matthew 27:9 doesn't say that it was written in the book of Jeremiah. What does it say? Spoken. Let me ask you this. Did Old Testament prophets quote Old Testament books? They did. So could Zechariah have written the book of Zechariah and Jeremiah spoken that which was written in the book of Zechariah? Now, some people won't like that. because they'll say, well, I don't think that's what it means, and you're just dodging this, and you're coming up with an explanation that defends the Scriptures. Here's the thing. When God created the universe out of nothing, was that a pretty convincing demonstration of His power? I would say it is. When God wrote the Scriptures, was God careless and sloppy and, oh yeah, I mean, that's just a mistake, I meant to say Zechariah, but I said Jeremiah. I mean, God has more. Think about this. The only reason man has any intelligence is that a God of all intelligence gave a little to man. Right? If there wasn't an intelligent, all-wise creator God that created a creature named man with some understanding, man wouldn't have any. So what's going on in Matthew 27, verse 9, is really rather simple. And you can see this in the New Testament. There are times where New Testament writers quote other portions of the New Testament. And I'll leave that as your homework. You should check in to see if that's true or not. Maybe I made that up. I'm going to suggest to you they do that. Well, what happened here is obvious. It's written in Zechariah, but Matthew 27:9 now gives you some new information. It was also spoken by Jeremiah. So it's not an error at all, and that's the way to understand it.